They said the dynasty Staley has built just got torched on television. Now, I'm telling you right now, I seen it, dog. It was bad. I mean, it was real bad. It cost amount for Dawn Staley to leave South Carolina as Geno Auriemma's 12th NCAA champion, leave college basketball community livid, bruh. One of the most decorated coaches in women's basketball walked off the court with nothing but questions swirling around her. Meanwhile, Geno Auriemma casually walked into legendary status.
Did you see South Carolina get absolutely embarrassed by UConn? The #1 ranked Gamecocks just got destroyed, and now fans are calling for Dawn Staley's job. That's right, the legendary coach is facing serious heat after that shocking tournament loss. Some are saying Geno Auriemma completely outcoached her, and that F-bomb she dropped courtside, not a good look.
Now, for what it's worth, this latest win came with the expense of Geno Auriemma. Best rivals Dawn Staley over a 17-year tenure with South Carolina. Staley has assembled a juggernaut of a program, reminding everyone who still runs the sport. Now, the pitchforks are out, and the noise is defining who's the best coach. Now, that's something that I do want to say, dog. Like, even though she went out bad and sorry this last time, it does not take away the championship she has won, the coaching ability she has been able to do, because she ultimately beat Geno Auriemma before.
We're breaking down exactly what went wrong, why fans are so furious, and whether this is just a bad day or the beginning of the end for Dawn Staley at South Carolina. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Because I feel like her now is not like her whole history is going to be tarnished because of this, bro. Like losing the way that she lost, man. Now, granted, she did have a totally different roster, but I'm telling you right now, the Dawn Staley we seen this past weekend is not her legendary status that she once had. So on Sunday night, however, her team could not muster the same energy as UConn. The gap between the two teams was there for all of us to see. Despite everything Staley has achieved, her Gamecocks look second best across the board.
Did you see what Geno Auriemma just did to Dawn Staley's team? It wasn't just a loss, it was a complete embarrassment that has fans losing their minds. South Carolina walked into that game with their heads high, ranked #1 in the nation with championship expectations written all over them. They had that swagger of a team that knew they were the best in the country, led by the legendary Dawn Staley, who's basically royalty in women's basketball. But then UConn happened. And oh my goodness, it wasn't pretty. The Huskies didn't just win. They absolutely dismantled South Carolina in ways nobody saw coming. From the opening tip, Auriemma's squad executed a perfect game plan while Staley stood there looking completely lost. Remember that moment in the second quarter when UConn went on that 12-0 run? Staley just watched it happen, didn't even call a timeout until the damage was done. The final score was brutal. UConn dominated 74-51. That's a 23-point beatdown of the supposed best team in the nation. South Carolina shot an abysmal 26% from the field compared to UConn's 48%. They got out-rebounded 42-29.
Like, we all got to remember that, bro. Like, the #1 team pretty much got the beats put on them, bro. Now, for what it's worth, the latest win came at the expense of Geno Auriemma, bro. Now, what's crazy about all of this, too, no one is talking about, is that South Carolina came into this game #1. They was #1 ranked over UConn. UConn came in this thing #2, bro. Despite everything Staley has achieved, her Gamecocks look second best across the board, leaving fans and experts alike stunned. Not just that, Auriemma now holds a 10-5 advantage over Dawn Staley.
And here's the crazy part. South Carolina's star players combined for just 18 points total. 18 points. That's the kind of stat line that makes fans question everything. Staley's coaching decisions were straight up baffling. She kept running the same offensive sets that clearly weren't working. When UConn's defense adjusted, Staley had no counter. She stuck with a lineup that was getting torched defensively for nearly 8 minutes before making a change. By then, the game was basically over. Then there was that sideline moment that went viral, Staley dropping that F-bomb that got picked up by the broadcast mics when the ref called a foul against her team. Not a great look for a coach of her stature, and it only added fuel to the fire of fans questioning her composure under pressure. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time. This loss comes after their previous 29-point February defeat to UConn. That's becoming a pattern that has fans seriously concerned about Staley's ability to match wits with Auriemma when it matters most. Auriemma basically put on a coaching clinic. His defensive adjustments completely neutralized South Carolina's offense, exposing fundamental flaws in Staley's game planning and preparation. His players executed perfectly while Staley's looked confused and unprepared. What happens when a legendary coach faces the most humiliating defeat of her career? While Auriemma was teaching a masterclass on the court, Staley was busy digging herself into an even deeper hole with fans. After the game, she dropped a comment in the press conference that had South Carolina supporters absolutely erupting. "I hope they're crying because crying makes you work harder." Those 11 words might be the most expensive of her coaching career. Instead of owning up to the coaching blunders that led to the collapse, fans saw Staley's comment as shifting blame directly onto her players' shoulders. The message came across loud and clear to the Gamecock faithful. It wasn't her fault. It was the players who needed to work harder. Talk about throwing your team under the bus when they needed support the most. The reaction on social media was immediate and brutal. One tweet demanding Staley's removal racked up over 15,000 views overnight. You had lifelong supporters suddenly questioning everything about a coach they once worshipped. "I think it's time for Dawn Staley to hang it up and retire since she's past her prime." That's an actual comment from a once loyal fan. The Gamecock Nation was splitting apart right before our eyes. But not everyone was ready to see Staley go. The fan base fractured into two camps. Those who saw this defeat as the final straw versus others who pointed to her championship history as reason enough to keep faith. This wasn't just about one bad loss anymore. It became a referendum on Staley's entire coaching philosophy and whether she still had what it takes to compete at the highest level. And as if the humiliation wasn't complete enough, Geno Auriemma delivered the ultimate power move after the game. Picture this: he gathered his former players for a celebration, collectively counting their combined 27 national championships. That wasn't just a celebration. That was Auriemma sending a message directly to Staley and everyone watching. The gap between these two coaching legends suddenly looked more like a canyon than a crack. This wasn't just South Carolina having an off night. This loss exposed something far more concerning, a fundamental coaching disparity that might not be fixable with a few adjustments. And that's what has fans so worried. When you've tasted the success Staley has brought to the program, falling this far this fast feels like a betrayal of everything they've built together. So what's the reality of this situation? Despite all the noise and outrage right now, Dawn Staley isn't going anywhere. Her championship legacy at South Carolina has effectively made her bulletproof. The university won't be showing her the door over one devastating tournament loss, no matter how bad it looked. But make no mistake, this loss changes things. The perception of Staley has been altered, especially when matched against coaching titans like Auriemma. This defeat will hang over her until she proves she can adjust and evolve. The real question is, can she bounce back next season? Tell me what you think in the comments.